Well guys, I'm finally set up, thank God. I believe it's October 23rd. It's about 4:45, 5 o'clock right now, I believe. Like I was saying earlier, the initial plan was to get set up on that north side of the bedding that I've been hunting, or actually that I hunted earlier this week, and sadly I ran into those guys, but can't do anything about it. Tried to make the best decision that I could with the amount of time I had. Well guys, it's a beautiful afternoon. We're heading out to the woods right now. It's October 26th. I had the day off of work because of rain. I'm heading back into the piece of public that I've been hunting. Got a cold front that came in. Northwest wind. Leaves are wet. It's breezy. I think I plan on heading up deeper into that bedding and trying to get up on top of that ridge. So it's about 1:45, 1 o'clock right now. I got plenty of time. I plan on heading up there and trying to find the best sign I can, and if not, then I'll figure something else out. But pretty sure once I get up there, I'll probably just stick to it. So it's about 3:30 now. I'm finally set up here on top of the ridge. On my way in, I was just about to crest the top, and I ended up bumping two does, at least what I believe were two does. They let me get within about 15 yards of them. They were bedded right here on the very top on the edge. They took off. One slightly blew, but that breeze is picking up, so I don't think they caused too much of a racket up here. But it's October 29th this morning. I'm at a piece of public that I've hunted the last couple sits. On my way in here, I was about 200, 250 yards from where I wanted to go, and I stopped for some reason. I don't know if I heard something or what, but I stopped, and there was just an absolute ruckus going on about 40 to 60 yards in front of me. I could hear deer walking, twigs were breaking. At one point it sounded like a deer completely fell over. I don't really know what was going on, but there was definitely two deer. One went one way and the other went the other way. Sounded like the one that was heading up towards the ridge back behind me where I initially wanted to go. Sounded like he made a scrape, and he was blowing for some reason. I don't really know what that deal was all about, but I know they never saw me, because I was back behind a little knob. They were on the other side in the bottom, so it's been light for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I haven't seen anything, but I feel like it's just a matter of time. October 30th. It's about
1:30 right now. I'm heading out to a piece of public that I hunted earlier this year, I think on opening weekend. It's also the same piece where Brennan shot his buck just a couple weeks ago, his second deer, his biggest of the two. My plan is to head about 300, 400 yards east of where Brennan shot his buck, towards the back property line. There's big swamp and some ridges and whatnot back there that look intriguing to me. Going into the spot blind. Obviously there's some good deer out here. Pretty excited. Got a very long walk out there right now. But should be worth it. It's a little warm for this time of year. I believe it's supposed to get up to like 60 or 61 today. But there is a slight breeze that's pretty cool, so right now it doesn't feel that bad, but should be a good afternoon, I hope. As you saw this morning, my dad and I were back out on the piece of private that he has permission on. I saw 4 bucks and 2 does. None of them were very big, obviously, but it's better than nothing. My dad's first couple sits in the saddle as well, so that was pretty fun and cool to see him getting comfortable with all that. But I'm gonna shut up, save my breath, and try and make my way out there as quiet but as fast as I can, because the sooner I get out there, the better. So I'm making my way back here. I just ran into another guy hunting. He's about 250 yards behind me. He's out towards where I'm trying to go, but there'll be plenty of distance in between us, and he was really cool about it. Told me to go ahead. He said he was setting up on a good scrape line, but it's up there towards the access, so I really not gonna pay attention to those, but I'm just slowly inching my way out here. I'm coming out to this point, and right now I'm running into a bunch of good roads right here.
I'm finally set up here. It's about 4 o'clock now. I've been set up for probably 25, 30 minutes. Never been on this side of the property. Opening weekend on the west side, probably 400 or 500 yards, 600 yards away. Tonight I'm on the east side, almost in the farthest corner from the parking lots. I really didn't make it to where I planned on going initially, but once I made it out to the finger of this ridge that drops down into the swamp right here, came across 4 scrapes that were all hit, I'd probably say this morning, if no later than last night, so they're all pretty fresh. I've got one of 5 yards, 30, 45, and 55. The 2 farther ones I can shoot towards. I just don't know if I feel too comfortable shooting out that far, so got the grunt call, got the rattle nailers. Hopefully if they do go to the farther scrapes back behind me, I can do something to bring them in closer, even just 10 yards, 15 yards, so feeling pretty good about it. The only 2 questions I have are if they're hitting them in daylight and how big the deer are that are hitting them, so hopefully we find out both of those answers tonight.
Alright guys, I finally got set up out here. It took me absolutely forever. I was just about to put my third stick on the tree and I heard what I thought was a squirrel chirping. But I was like, man, that sounds weird. And I looked from behind the tree and it ended up being a doe, either coughing or sneezing, one of the two. So I got set up within about 50 to 60 yards of these does that were bedded. As you can see, I was coming in here really, really slow because last year it seemed a lot of times there's deer bedded right down here by where we access, so they have not had any pressure, none at all, compared to the last couple years. I think my dad's actually hunted out here once, and that was the second week of the season, I believe, and it's November 5th now. Other than that, they have had zero pressure. We haven't really had that much on trail cameras, but it seems with all these fresh rubs that are out here, it seems like that changed the last day or two, but well, I just had that buck come in on a dead line straight to those does that were bedded right here along the river. I saw him from about 120 yards out, and he went dead straight to those does. Got them to stand up and they scattered. I'm sure the footage wasn't the greatest. For a second I couldn't see him when he was right here about 50-55 yards away. The one doe he was on, she headed out towards the other bedding in the swamp to the north that I was talking about earlier. And he followed right along with her. They've been calling for 50-mile-an-hour gusts all day, and really hasn't been all that windy until just about 5 minutes ago. It's really only been about 15-20 minutes after that buck came through. And these gusts are getting pretty scary, if I'm being honest. Definitely making me nervous, and I'm not a big fan of it. Especially with how many laydowns there are out here. But as of right now, I'm hoping I can stick it out without a tree falling on me or my tree falling down. All I know is my cheeks are clenched. And if you could go back to the way it was about 30 minutes ago, then I'd be a big fan. Because that wasn't bad at all. But this stuff is getting scary now. Here's a deer right here. Everybody, it's the morning of the 6th. I'm back in the same tree hunted last night. Sadly, my sit got cut short because of the wind. There's just way too many trees going down right here next to me. The first morning hunt out here this year. I believe it's about 6:45, 7 o'clock, something like that now. I may be sitting out here all day. Not really sure as of right now, but historically, here at the house, the 6th and the 7th, there's just buck after buck cruising through here, right here along this river. I'm just hoping something else shows up here this morning.
like I was saying yesterday, we really haven't gotten that many pictures. Nowhere near as many pictures as we have the last 2 years. But I know that there's some nice bucks out here, whether I have pictures of them or not, so anything can happen this morning. And anything can come taking a stroll right down this river edge within 20 yards, so. There is an absolute giant bedded at 60 yards right now. I literally saw him just a couple minutes after I did that opening interview. I didn't see him until he was right there where he's bedded. He was standing up. I saw him for a couple seconds and he bedded down right away. I gotta relax.
I had that smaller 8-point coming from behind me. He was being pretty fidgety once he got right here downwind, but he ended up making it through. And he got up there towards that bigger buck that was bedded down, and he stood up, and I thought they were going to square off with each other, but they're pretty civil. 8-point worked his way back over here the whole time. The big deer was just standing there. And we had what looked like a doe. It might have been a bunt buck, but the body looked way too big to be a bunt buck. I couldn't really tell. There's too much going on. I just figured with that doe being right here, it'd bring that bigger buck over, especially because that 8-point was pushing it around a little bit. But whatever that doe or bunt buck was, swung around and followed the edge of the swamp up, and that 8-point went into the swamp. And while that was happening, the bigger buck started moving around a little bit. And once they worked off, he started heading towards the swamp. And he got to like 80, 90 yards away. And threw out a couple grunts. Didn't pay any attention. Snort wheezed at him one time, and he stopped on a dime. Grunted 1 or 2 more times. And next thing you know, he just took off running. No idea why that just happened. But that's probably going to be the best chance or opportunity I have at killing that deer. Makes me want to throw up on myself. It worked out so perfect, other than him coming up and walking down this river edge like I thought he was gonna, because all morning he's been looking right down in here. That would have been my biggest buck by an absolute country mile. And he was right there for an hour at like 60 yards bedded down. That was awesome, but man, I knew that I didn't want any more deer coming in here. Not that they're the reason that he got up and went into the swamp or was heading there, but I would have been more than happy sitting here all day waiting for him to get up on his own. And from the looks of it, he's super comfortable there. So I feel like he could have been there for who knows how long. That was fun. Absolute chaos, but I really would have liked to put an arrow in that deer. At least I know he's out here now. Have not gotten any pictures of any deer near that size. We have in the years past, but not this year. Sad morning.